All right, let's dive into something that really it affects every single one of us, our health. But we're going to look at it through two completely different lenses, two competing visions for what wellness really means today. We're talking about a shift from a system that manages you to one where you have personal sovereignty.
So, let me just kick this off with a question, and it might be a little uncomfortable. Just think about it for a second. When did your health stop being yours? I don't mean when you got sick or had to go to the hospital. I mean, when did your life just sort of become data? Data to be managed, analyzed, and interpreted by somebody else.
To understand how we even got here, we've got to rewind the clock a bit. Our story really kicks off back in 2013 with this huge, ambitious plan that was designed to tackle a healthcare crisis that was just looming over everyone. And to get the plan, you have to get the context. You see, 2013 was a perfect storm. Medical costs were absolutely exploding. The population was getting older, and chronic diseases were just climbing and climbing. The old model of just treat people when they get sick, well, it was breaking. Something big had to be done.
So, the solution they came up with? I mean, on paper, it was brilliant. Super smart, totally logical, very tech-savvy. The idea was to merge IT and biotech, use all those new wearable devices to collect our life logs, crunch all that big data, and then have hospitals create these personalized wellness plans for us. The big goal, of course, was prevention.
It was a nearly perfect plan, right? It had all the right ingredients, the tech, the data, the experts watching over it. It really should have worked, but there was a ghost in the machine, a fundamental flaw that just brought the whole system to a grinding halt.
And that's the thing. For all its ambition, for all that logic, the wellness revolution just stalled. Here we are, more than a decade later, and the big problems it was supposed to fix are, well, they're still here. So what happened? What did this brilliant model miss?
This is it, right here. This is the crucial point. The model had the what down perfectly, the tech, the data, the process, but it completely, totally overlooked the who. It failed to see the single most important person in the entire system.
You see, that 2013 model looked at us, at people, as passive participants. We were just data providers, service recipients. We were basically objects to be managed by a much bigger system. All the decisions flowed down to us, but our meaning, our interpretation, it never flowed back up. We were just a piece of the puzzle, not the one solving it.
Okay, so if that model was flawed, what's the alternative? Well, a radically different approach started to bubble up. And this one didn't start with technology or hospitals or big data. It started with a completely different kind of question.
And this new model, it's called My Life Index, and it totally flipped the script. It didn't begin with a bunch of top-down answers. Nope, it started by empowering the individual, you, to ask your own questions. Questions like, how am I really functioning today? What does this lab result actually mean to me? And the big one, is my health a service I get, or is it an asset I own?
And that reframed absolutely everything. Health was no longer just about the absence of disease, a static thing. It became about functioning, your personal, dynamic ability to live a life that has meaning to you. It's not about what's wrong with you. It's about what you're able to do and who you're able to be.
The whole process looks deceptively simple, but it is so powerful. You ask the question, you interpret the answer, you store the records right there on your own device, not in some far-off cloud. And through that process, your health records stop being just data points for a system, and they become your own personal assets.
So, when you step back, what you realize is we're not just talking about two different apps or systems here. We're talking about two fundamentally different worlds, two competing philosophies about what health is, where data lives, and who's really in control.
And this table just lays it all out, clear as day. The old model, it sees you as a patient. The new one sees you as the system itself. Data ownership shifts from the big institution to you, on your own device. Technology stops being a tool for automation that manages you, and it becomes a cognitive companion that thinks with you. And the goal, the outcome, it's no longer just a health status, it's your very own asset portfolio.
So you see, this isn't just some small tweak or little upgrade. No way. This is a fundamental shift in power. It's the journey from a managed idea of wellness to the incredibly powerful idea of personal sovereignty.
This is the path. This is how you get there. You start with raw health data, but by asking your own questions, you transform that data into personal meaning.
That meaning, which you curate and you own, becomes your personal capital. And that capital, that is the bedrock of having true sovereignty over your own life.
You know, the architect of this My Life Index framework, Anne Guhan, said it perfectly. The goal wasn't just to build another platform or another app. The goal was to design a way for people to take their lives back.
Because ultimately, the old wellness model didn't fail because the tech was bad. It failed because the ownership was in the wrong hands. Real sustainable wellness doesn't come from being managed perfectly by some system. It comes from being the owner of your own health journey.
And all of this leaves us with one final critical question to ask ourselves. A question that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. Is your health your own unique, valuable asset, or has it just become someone else's data? The answer to that? Well, it could change everything.